Today we're gonna go over my list of the top 5 areas in the Phoenix East Valley. Now, I don't want to not give credit to the West Valley. There's a lot going on in the West Valley, especially around Glendale, where the Arizona Cardinals play their stadium, State Farm Arena, and all of Westgate. There's a ton of development going on. But today, let's be honest, where most people want to be, the most happening place in Phoenix is the Phoenix East Valley. If you're unfamiliar with the Phoenix Metro, the East Valley is basically breaking off from the main portion of Phoenix, if you look at a map, to the almost Phoenix size population and cities over to the southeast. If you're looking at a map, that composes the East Valley. The main cities of the East Valley, going from Phoenix and Sky Harbor Airport southeast, are going to be Tempe, Mesa, Arizona, Chandler, Gilbert, Queen Creek. Those are the main 5, I guess you could call them suburbs that make up the Phoenix East Valley, but there's also smaller towns like developing further south and east. Ahwatukee is actually a Phoenix area that's in the East Valley. It's called Ahwatukee, but it has Phoenix zip codes and it's part of the Phoenix city. You go a little farther southeast, you got towns that are really blown up in population, like Santan Valley, Coolidge. A little further south, you have Maricopa. But today we're gonna focus on the East Valley of the main large suburbs, those first 5 that I mentioned. And we're gonna talk about the best areas within there. So let's get started off. A couple of honorable mentions first. Mesa's pretty awesome, especially some of the newer developments like Eastmart. They got it going on. Definitely seen downtown Mesa revitalized. There's a lot going into there, a lot of restaurants and shops opening in that area. And those will be our main honorable mentions. Santan Valley, I don't know if I would put it even as an honorable mention yet. It's a much more affordable place to live and it's really growing out there, but maybe next year on this list, if we do it again, Santan Valley will be on the honorable mentions. Now, let's get into the top 5. Before we get into the top 5, I guess it would make sense to know what I'm rating this on. There is no scientific formula here. Now, we will be weighing like safety and schools and things like that, but my list is just like where I like going. If you're looking for a good restaurant, maybe some shopping, entertainment, one of the many attractions that are coming into town, that's what I'm mainly judging this. If it has walkability where I could go hit a nice patio, get a nice dinner, sit out, enjoy myself, and there's multiple options. There's a lot of people watching and entertainment in that area. Just a good place for food and cocktails. That's really what I'm rating this list off. Now, if you go bigger Phoenix, a lot of people know Scottsdale or Arcadia neighborhoods as a hub, but we're gonna talk about some hidden and some not so hidden areas of the East Valley that are just cool to go to, have food and drinks and just enjoy yourself, whether it's you and your significant other, your wife or husband, or even taking out the kids. Some of these spots on this list that made the top 5 are good for more adult fun, and some are more with kid friendly, which we have younger kids, so we're always looking for places to go out where we can take the kids, but we also like the date night where we can just go out, walk around, enjoy this beautiful, beautiful springtime weather we're having here in Arizona. So let's get started with the top 5. And number 5 on the list is Tempe Town Lake. If you look at Arizona State University, it's well known for what's Mill Ave, which is kind of like a college scene, but just off of that, there's a ton of commercial development, some taller buildings going in, a lot of restaurants, and that's right around what we call Tempe Town Lake. It's not really a lake, but for Arizona standards, yes, it's considered a lake. It's actually the Salt River. Sometimes it has water in it, sometimes it doesn't, depending on the time of year, but around it, there's a lot of recreation. I was just down there a couple days ago and they had a concert venue set up on the outside grass, so there are a lot of musicians come through, tons of restaurants and food options. You get some of the more eclectic type stuff down around Tempe Town Lake, like I guess you could call them smoke shops or just different things like that. You're gonna find a lot of that area. Yes, there's gonna be a lot of college population, but I guess Tempe Town Lake is more than that. There's kind of that corporate center in a couple of streets going off of the university. In it's not like your typical college town where it's gonna be mostly college students. Tempe's really big and it's a really big business center as well. It's right across from Sky Harbor Airport. So you get all walks of life, something for everybody. We don't go down there a lot because they're to be honest, there's so many great places just in our vicinity. We're in Chandler on the border of Gilbert, but Tempe Town Lake is pretty cool, especially if you want to go down there and get a dinner and check out the concert. There's a lot going on as far as events and stuff like that in Tempe Town Lake. And here in 2025, that checks in number 5 on our list. Moving to number 4, this place was on nobody's radar. And I don't have a certain neighborhood because it's a little bit spread out, but this is absolutely a boom town. It used to have a reputation as more of like a rural town, maybe 10, 15 years ago. And it's becoming more on more people's radar for good reason. There is a lot going on here, and that's Queen Creek, Arizona. So again, we don't have a specific neighborhood, but if you just drive around the corners going southeast from Chandler or Gilbert, you run into Queen Creek. It's a really big town. I think it's like 4th or 5th population now in the Phoenix or the entire state of Arizona. So it's really grown. There's a lot of people moving to Queen Creek for a lot of reasons. But the thing I like about Queen Creek is that it's lacking a little bit on the restaurant scene and going out scene, but as it gets more popular and continues to grow, you have more and more people moving out to Queen Creek, that's coming along. But as far as like the development is going on, there's this new place called Pecan Lake that's like an outdoor, there's a ropes course, there's go-karts, there's mini golf. They have big screens. If you want to go and get some barbecue, like I do, they have Caldwell County Barbecue right there, which is one of the best barbecue in all of Phoenix Metro. But you can just sit out on the turf grass next to the big barn in their escape room and watch football on the big screens. Just hang out, enjoy beautiful weather, have yourself a beer, let the kids go on the rope course and all the other attractions. There's now a pizza place in there. I don't know if there's a coffee place, but there's a few other restaurants in there, and it's a place you could really just go and take the family and just hang out all day, and there's something for everyone. So that's just one of the attractions, but there's a lot more development coming in Queen Creek, and it's certainly not stopping. It seems like Queen Creek is constantly building new attractions. I heard that downtown Queen Creek is now getting some of the more trendy, like upscale restaurants, like a steakhouse and cocktail bars and stuff like that, where they used to just have like a brewery or two and a couple other chain restaurants. So Queen Creek's climbing. When we do the 2026 list, I would not be surprised if Queen Creek climbs up a spot or 2. But now let's get into the top 3 here, guys. This is a little bit more, I would say, like adult area, even though it's around it's a city center, and it's got lots of cute shops and things to do, to walk around, and there's lots of events down there. They have like lighting the Christmas tree, but I would say this is more like go out with the adult friends, because there's a lot of bars and restaurants down there, and it's all walkable. There's many options, both restaurants and bars, places you could sit outdoor, which we love to do in Arizona this time of year. But that's downtown Chandler. That's one of the first places outside of Tempe and Mesa that really developed in the East Valley all those years ago. And now it's more established. It's really grown, and I think it's benefited from competition from the number 1 and 2 places that we're gonna put on this list. But downtown Chandler is absolutely killing it. They've got a great steakhouse down there. They got a great seafood. We like going, just shout out to Elliot's Steakhouse. It's a newer steakhouse honoring, I didn't really know him, but I knew he's a real estate family guy who lived down there and owned some of the restaurants and properties. He recently passed away, and they named it after him, Elliot's, and we decided to check it out. And it's one of the best steakhouses. When I make my steakhouse list, Elliot's, as far as like the food, the appetizers, the environment, the lighting, the cleanliness, service, and the cocktails. Oh my gosh, if you like a good old-fashioned or upscale drink for the lady, or a glass of wine, absolutely check out Elliot's downtown. But that's just one of many. There's so many different places. Santan Brewery is in downtown Chandler. That was one of the few spots down there when it was really starting to develop. And I remember when I first moved to Phoenix about 15 years ago, I believe, there was a beer out here that got really popular, and it's Santan. It was called Devil's Ale, which has a reference to Arizona State there, going back to Tempe. But I remember it was like, you could only find it in Arizona, and it was very few, you just couldn't find it elsewhere. Now you see that beer every single gas station, every single restaurant you go. That all started from Santan Brewery, which the restaurant is in downtown Chandler, and I think they have a couple brewing centers nearby where you can go and take tours and sit out. But just one of many places. If you want a little more rambunctious, they got a couple Irish pubs down there. They got a couple country bars, all kinds of fun and dancing and just going out, people watching, all kinds of things to do in downtown Chandler. So it's holding strong at number 3, even though it just got passed out by who's going to be number 2 on this list. Number 2 on this list, this is one of my favorite spots, and it has just blown up. It just came out of nowhere. And well, I guess it's been around for a long time, but was really small and not too much going on there besides a restaurant. This is in Gilbert, Arizona, and this is, I'll put them together, Agritopia in Epicenter. It used to just be Agritopia, where it was a farm. There's a place called Joe's Farm Grill there. It's been around forever. Still there. Because it was a farm around there that he would grow his own vegetables for the restaurant, a neighborhood sprung up called Agritopia. I haven't moved there quite yet, but that's on my what I want to do in Arizona list is buy a house in Agritopia. Now they go for a pretty penny for good reason, because it's in this area. The neighborhoods are beautiful. They're almost like Midwestern feeling. To me, they have like big matured trees and shaded streets, and they have like nice porch balconies where you can just sit out and watch the people walking in and out. So much fun, so much young people, medium, older people, like all getting along. It's so safe. And that was kind of growing until Epicenter blew up across. It's not even a major street. It's just like a little divide street. You walk across that is now Epicenter. Epicenter is, I'd say like a 3 or 4 story apartment building. It's huge and it goes a long ways, but beautiful apartment. So I don't want to like give it a bad name, but it's like beautiful. Like I would want to live in this apartment building for sure. And I haven't lived in an apartment in probably 10 years. But downstairs of Epicenter, it's got all kinds of restaurants, not maybe a couple bars, but more like cocktail places, different types of food and cuisine. Some of our favorites are Undertow. There's a few of these in Phoenix, but it's a themed cocktail bar where you go in and it's really dark in there and it's pirate themed. They have music. My understanding or what from going there is that a few of the guys who created or founded worked for Disney, maybe on sets, or so they have all the special effects and smoke and sounds and lighting, all the cool things. Awesome place. I would check that out. It is next to one of our favorite restaurants in all the Phoenix Metro, and this is called Buck and Ryder. Buck and Ryder is a seafood place. Now, I know you don't think of Phoenix as a center here being in desert of seafood, but everything's from, we live in the age where things can get from Japan to the US and to a place in Arizona and on your plate within a day, or not even, like caught that morning and get to Arizona for dinner. So it's fresh. It's really good. The way they cook it and the spices they use is definitely some of the best seafood in all of Phoenix. Doesn't kill the budget. It's a little higher end on the price, but it won't kill you like some of the other seafood restaurants or steakhouses in Phoenix. Now a restaurant is now opening that is called The Mission, which is like more of an upscale Mexican place. If you've ever been to Old Town Scottsdale, The Mission, it's the same one. I believe they have in 1 or 2 locations in Phoenix, and this will be maybe the 3rd one, I guess, that I know of. But Mission, some of my favorite Mexican place, that's coming in next door. They have some of the best coffee shops in town, and there's a really cool grocery store. Yeah, no, it's weird to say a grocery store is cool, but check out Air Guitar if you're there. It's really sweet, and just like it's so walkable. And there's some little parks. There's like a dog park, and you put Agritopia and Epicenter together. I still want to move in that area. I would love to buy a house in Agritopia. It's one of my favorite places, and what I eventually want to live there with our stay here in Phoenix. Now, this takes us to number 1 on the list, guys. I don't think this is going to be a big surprise for many people who know Phoenix and come to Phoenix often, and it's going to stay strong. It's been number 1 on the list as far as I can remember. Not always that way. I think it was a little sleepy probably 10 years ago, but it's just boomed, and it's so walkable, and there's so many restaurants and cocktail bars and kitchens and parks and just ice cream and people walking around. Like now this time in peak season here in Arizona, where there's a ton of snowbirds in town from Canada, California, Chicago, New York, all over the country. People are here, and some from all over the world with everything we have going on. You have spring training baseball. But this time of year especially, I mean, it's all, even in the summer, you're going to see a lot of people walking around on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night down there. But this is downtown Gilbert. It is one of the best places. Luckily, we're about 20 minutes from there, and we still like going and getting a burger down there, or just walking around a little bit, taking the kids to ice cream. But downtown Gilbert's got some great neighborhoods just around it, little homes that were, you know, when Gilbert was just a tiny town, and now it's huge. It's over 300,000 people, but it just blew up. The restaurants are getting better. There's many cocktail options, and everything's built to where you can kind of overlook the street and see all the people, do all the people watching. There's some, you know, I'd say it's more family than Chandler, downtown Chandler, but they also have, like, you know, if you're single and you want to go out, they have some like bars, and where you're gonna find all the ladies and guys dancing on the dance floor with live music and stuff like that. Big places where, you know, there's a lot going on. So there's something for everybody. It's always safe down there and feels good. I still think they should block off the street during the evenings, especially this time of year, because Gilbert Road is a main road and it goes right through downtown. Of course, it's really slow and there's a lot of stoplights and crosswalks, but that's the only thing I think they could do better down there, is just like block off that street and have an all-out party for families and older people. And that's number one on the list. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Thanks for watching this far. I'm Andrew McGuire. I'm a real estate agent and investor. I do creative deals, all kinds of stuff here in Phoenix. If you ever have questions on real estate or just food, drinks, that's really my thing. So I believe I know that just about as good as anybody. Reach out. I'd love to chat with you. Until the next video, I'll see you then.